Right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to HGSA. We've got Michael Lawrence with us this evening, so we're just going to ask him a few questions and have a bit of a chat with him, if that's all right. The first thing I need to ask you is, what do you want to be called? Are you happy with Michael, Mike, Bruno, or anything else?
Anything. Yeah, I get called everything. Just call me whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
So, right, I'll call you Bruno. Is that all right?
That's all good with me.
Smashing. Right. So first things first, how's your pre-season been going?
Hey, it's been very good. Very tough, obviously. Greg Brown being back at the club. Obviously, Watto coming in, it's been different, learning a new system and stuff. But I think Greg's been the big one. We've been absolutely flogged pretty much for about nearly 3 months now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game starting and the flogging stopping pretty much. So no, one of the areas that we wanted to improve on was obviously as fitness. Obviously, we lost a lot of tight games at the back end last year, and Salford obviously had a history of winning the tight games. So that's one thing we want to put right this year. And obviously, being a lot fitter will go a long way to doing that.
So what things has changed? What is it that's changed in the last sort of couple of years under Greg and Ian?
Well, obviously at training, what's changed is just the way we train. It's a lot more intense. To be fair, Watto is very much like I've never had a coach like him. His attention to detail is massive. The smallest parts of the game are big things to him, and he sees everything. We record every training session, and he doesn't miss a trick. And if you're not doing something the way he wants it done, he'll pull you up on it. And if you don't do it and you don't do it right, you won't play. And it's been pretty clear so far from the start of pre-season to now. So yeah, pretty much it's just raised the standards, and the intensity of training's a lot higher. We're moving a lot quicker, running a lot further. And yeah, hopefully we'll take it in, because Watto and GB, they were under the belief that if we train harder than everybody else, we'll be better prepared and the games will come easy to us.
Yeah. In terms of injuries, they don't seem to be getting as many this pre-season. I know Ashton's is out for a long time into it. We don't seem to have as many injuries as we have. Is that down to the way they're training?
I think so. Obviously, the exposure to the load that we're doing and the amount of running we're doing, you need to be training at a higher level so your body gets used to it. To be fair, obviously there's the contact injuries, which Ash's was. To be fair, it was his first session back, and he was just returning a ball, and he got a good whack off a couple of the forwards, and obviously damaged his shoulder, which is unlucky, and that's part and parcel of the game. Contact injuries are the ones that you can take. It's part of the game. It's rugby league, but it's the muscle tears and things like that. They're the ones that are prevented through your training. So yeah, we've managed to limit those this pre-season. So hopefully, coming to round one, we'll only have probably Ash, John Luke, and obviously I think it might be Chester still missing from the squad. But hopefully everybody else will be fully fit, providing we don't pick up any injuries between now and then.
I was just going to say that with your first pre-season game, are you always a bit sort of wary about going into tackles and going into contact?
It's not so much the tackles and stuff. It's more your lungs, because it's been a long time since you've last played, and you do all the training in the world, but nothing compares to a game. Nothing compares to that game fitness, and it normally takes 2-3 games to get into your stride before you feel comfortable. But that first game always takes your breath away. The contact wise, we've done loads. Watto's massive on his defence. His defence first orientated. If you don't defend well, you won't be in his team. So that's his first priority before anything else, really. If you look at probably the last, I don't know, probably 10 grand finals, probably most likely you'll have seen one of the top, if not the top 2 best defensive sides. They'll be in that grand final, and that's one thing he wants to get right this year. So yeah, defence is a massive part of his game.
Is that a big change from how it's been sort of the last, since you've been playing, really, the last 20 years or whatever?
Maybe so. It just depends on the coaches. It depends on the coaches and the way they want to play the game and their tactics. To be fair, the game has changed. To be fair, since, from when I started playing in 2007 to now, it's a lot quicker. I'd like to say it's probably not as, it's more physically demanding, but probably not as physical as it used to be. because the bigger guys are getting pushed out of the game by where the rules are. Do you know what I mean? You have to be more athletic and more agile nowadays. And if you look at our pack this year, it is that way. The only really big guy we've got is probably Gav. Everybody else is athletic, very fit, and can play very big minutes. And I think that's the way the game's going, to be honest, because of the rules. And
you're looking forward to playing proper, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. There's no real change, to be honest, in the way we play. Watto, as Watto called them in Germany, you call them middles, and pretty much the only change is the way you line up for kickoff or a dropout. But once you're into the flow of the game, the role of the three middles is exactly the same. So you all play the same way. It's just basically where you line up from the kickoff or dropout. So yeah, the only thing that'll be new is carries off the back line, to be honest. No. Obviously, other than that, my game won't change. Watto likes areas of my game, and he'll want me to play exactly the same way I did last year. So there won't be much change there, apart from where I stand at kickoff and the number on the shirt.
Yeah, Darren, did you want to ask a question? Darren, did you put your hand up?
No.
No. So you've come a long way then from that skinny winger that we saw at Warrington.
3-minute winger.
Seems like
skinny
two.
winger, yeah.
To be honest.
Little kid on wing.
Pardon?
Little kid on wing, I remember.
I know, pretty much, yeah. Still laugh at that now. The boys still laugh. I remember taking one carry and slipping. But yeah, time flies. And obviously, as I said it, I think I said it a few weeks back in an interview I got asked by a reporter. I just believe it's been obviously my natural progression, really. Obviously, I spent probably from 2007 to 2011 playing wingman. And then we signed Joe Wardle, and Leroy moved back into the centres. And it was at that stage where Brownie said my attributes suited playing in the back row. So then we started trialling playing in the back row in 2012, and then from probably 2013 onwards, I've always kind of played a loose forward type of role, and I've really enjoyed it over the years. I've obviously got bigger, put more size on, and I think obviously my fitness and defensive side of the game and that lot suit the position. So yeah, it seems a long time ago. If I got stuck back out on the wing now, I think I'd panic a little bit. So now I'm comfortable in the middle.
I mean, we all know mainly your strengths and weaknesses, but what would you say were your strengths and weaknesses in your game, or what could you still improve on?
Obviously, my strength is obviously my defensive side of the game and my fitness. I've been working a lot on my attack over the past few years, especially my passing game, to be honest. That's one area that I've been really working hard on, and it's one of the things that Watto likes about my game and wants me to carry on developing, to be honest. A short passing game and working with the halfbacks. Obviously, it's good to have forwards that can ball play as well. It's an important part of the game now, and helps break opposition's defences down. So yeah, just constantly developing that side of my game and making me more of a threat with the ball, definitely.
And you're constantly up there with the top tacklers in Super League, aren't you? Is that something you're looking at doing again this year?
To be honest, I've probably got a little bit more help this year around me, so I don't think I'll be playing as big as minutes as I did last year. I reckon I'll still be playing probably 40 to 60 minutes, but I doubt that there'll be as many 80-minute performances. Last year, obviously, we had obviously Gav and Suya and some big boys and guys that don't really play big minutes, and then we tend to get a head knock early in a game or an injury, and if we lost one player, I knew that I'd be playing the full game. Normally, me and Adam O'Brien knew that if we lost one player in a game through a head knock or injury, we were going to stay on and they'd rotate the other boys because they can play 15-20-minute stints and not as long. So that helped me. That helped and was a factor in obviously my numbers being so high last year. But obviously this year, with him bringing in Jonesy and Yatesy and Joe Greenwood, these guys are fit. Especially Yatesy, he's pretty much the same player as me, same carbon copy. So and he can play 80 minutes as well. So I think he's planning to use us to be on and be really intense whilst we're on. But obviously, he can mix the big guys in and around us as well, to obviously, so we can help mop up their work on the defensive side, and they can do some damage with the ball going forward, definitely.
So, I mean, Luke Yates, he reckons he's a pretty handy tackler. He does quite a lot as well. And we spoke to James Cunningham, and he seems to think he's going to be up there for one of the top tacklers. But he seems to sort of come in as third man, grab an ankle, run off, and call out a tackle. So I don't know what you think to that.
Kuno is a bit of a joker of the team. To be fair, I've talked to him since he's come into the camp. He's always up for a laugh, and yeah, he'll be a good player for us. Obviously, he'll do some time when obviously OB needs a rest, and obviously he's a solid defender and a good quality player. So yeah, he's going to be good for us because obviously last year I think that was massive for us. I think that was probably a turning point in the season. I'd probably regard OB as probably our most influential player. I know a lot of people would think it'd be C's, but I think last year when we lost OB, it was massive for us. The way we play, the way we attack, he's massive in defence, and everything we do starts with OB. So yeah, he's crucial to our team. But yeah, obviously having Kuno there this year to give him a little bit of a rest in a game will be good for us. And obviously on Yates, Yates is a great defender. I played against him for probably the last couple of years now, obviously at London and at Salford. And yeah, he's very fit and he gets around the park, and yeah, hopefully he'll make us even a better defensive side. I think obviously that's why Watto's brought him in, because he does all the small stuff in the game really right. A lot of stuff that he does, people won't see. It's not the flashy U plays, super offloads, scoring, one-handed diving tries in corners and stuff like that. But it's the hard, tough, gritty work, the kind of stuff I like that Yates does really well, and us and his teammates we really appreciate it, definitely.
Yeah, you need them unsung heroes in your team, don't you? The workhorses that do all the donkey work as it was.
Yeah, definitely. Every team's got them pretty much, and in Super League you'll notice every team has got a workhorse. Obviously, Leeds they had Johnny Jones Buchanan back in the day. Saints have got Morgan Knowles and James Bentley, players like that. Every team has those grafters, and you need them in your squad. Obviously, you've got the guys with the flair on the edges that do the fancy stuff and score the points. But you need some guys in the middle that are going to work hard.
That's it. Yeah, Trevor's got a question. I think, have you, Trevor?
Yes. Watto's made a big thing about the academy lads. One of the reasons he wanted to come to Huddersfield. How does the academy theatre differ from when you came into the game?
Oh, it's massive. It's so much better now. Obviously, thanks to you guys as well and the work that you do for the academy. But when I came in the academy, it was part-time. We used to train two times a week. Yeah, no, 3 times a week. We used to train Tuesday, Thursday, and play on Saturday afternoons, I think, at the Dram Centre, and that was it, just on a night. So obviously you had a mix of amateur players, and obviously the guys that had signed on to the academy, pretty much that make up the team. And then if you were playing senior academy, which was under 21s at the time, you'd have a few boys that had dropped down from the first team to play. But yeah, it was a little bit better than obviously amateur, but it wasn't quite full professional yet. Whereas now these academy boys, as soon as they sign at 16, they're straight into the full professional environment. Obviously, they do their education either at the zone or at college, and they train pretty much. They follow pretty much a first team schedule from 16 onwards. So they've got everything there to help them develop, and obviously it's shown with the amount of players that have pushed through into the first team in the past few years. I think it's great. We've got a great academy system, and it was the more players that can push through, the better, because they're the future.
I think it was James Cunningham that said that he'd never seen lads as big as that coming through an academy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things the club scout on. To be fair, every young kid that seems to come into the first team is massive. Yeah, there's a lot of big boys that come up. To be fair, obviously Don that's gone to Australia now, but the young lads that have come up and trained with us this year, they've been really good. Young Alfie Schultz and Fenton, he's really impressed me. He don't take a backward step, that kid. And then who else has popped up as well? Kieran Rush, he's just started training with us. I think he might get a look on the weekend as well, to be fair. So no, there's a load of talent coming through, and it bodes well for the future of the club, definitely.
Great.
Anybody else got anything on that? No. Right. Was that Brian? Will you open your hand up then, Brian?
Yeah. Well, I just unmuted myself to start with, which some people might not be right happy with, but
No, turn him back off.
Turn him off. Just on the size of the squad, Bruno, we have a 31 man squad or so at the moment. There's no reserve grade. There's no academy playing as such at the moment. That's going to come hopefully before too long. But how do you think Ian's going to manage his squad, and how is he going to keep everybody happy when you know as well as I do, if you're not playing, you're not happy, and then that can cause a bit of a resentment within the camp as well. So how's he going to do that?
I had this conversation with Leroy and Jermaine the other day. I goes, we've got a great squad this year. It's probably the most excited I've been about with a squad from many a year, probably since 2015, the last year we made the playoffs. To be honest, obviously games 8-1 on paper, and we've got to do the business on the field. But yeah, regarding keeping everyone happy, that was one of the things I said. I goes, good senior pros that have played a lot of games are not going to play every week. Obviously, look at us back row. We've got Kenny, Joe, Chris McQueen, and other Joe Greenwood. Two of those players will probably not play every week, and then obviously Leroy, Ricky, and Jake Wardle. One of them's going to miss out every week. So there's competition all over the squad. To be honest. And like I said, good players are going to miss out every week. And I don't know how it's going to go, to be honest. I know he spoke in the press about obviously loaning some players out. But yeah, regarding the senior boys, it'll be interesting. I don't know if he'll adopt a rotation system of some kind. I know that's been done in the past to try keep players happy. But I know if a player's not playing for 2, 3, 4 weeks, then yeah, they'll start. They probably won't be too happy, and you want to be playing at the end of the day. Nobody wants to be sat on the sideline watching games. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how that develops over the season. I suppose it'll probably take 2, 3, 4 weeks for him to settle on what he thinks his strongest squad is, and obviously with the number of games, I think I've looked at July and we've got like 6 games in the space of a month. So there'll definitely be some rotation then, and having a what do you call it, a big squad will help then. And one thing I've learned over the past few years is it's a squad game. It's not a starting 17 game no more. Through the year, there's going to be injuries. Obviously now with the added risk of COVID as well. Pretty much last year was crazy. You'd be getting ready for the game, and then a day before you'd lose 5 players that were fit to play, but obviously couldn't play through COVID. So yeah, we've just got to be prepared for all cases. But yeah, regarding keeping everyone happy, yeah, that'll be down to Watto, and hopefully he can manage to do it, to be honest. But yeah, I think that is going to be a tricky situation. One thing we've got this year is we've got a load of players off contract that are in the what they call it, probably top 20. So that's going to play an interesting part as well. So we'll see how that plays out as well. Normally though, when you've got players off contract, you've got players who are desperate and they play even better. So hopefully that'll fall over onto the field as well.
It's a shame they haven't got a veteran side, isn't it? So you and Jerry and Leroy can guarantee games. Even Jack Bryan as well for a game.
Oh,
come back for a game.
I don't think I'm fancy running it.
People think I'm a lot older than I am. I've just gone 30. I'm not as old as Leroy and Jez.
Yeah. That's what made it a long time ago, since that skinny wing at Waddington, wasn't it?
I know, pretty much, yeah. 17-year-old then. Time flies. Yeah, this is, season 14 this. Yeah, season 14. It seems like 2 minutes.
Still got another 10 years in you then.
I don't know about that, but yeah. No, I'm still feeling good at the moment. So, no, I carry on playing as long as Watto and the club want me.
So can I just ask one more question? Not quite rugby related, but rugby related. How's the squad managed with the COVID situation?
Since before Christmas or since after Christmas?
Just right through it, really. So how's it all adapted, basically? To the situation?
Before, so when we first came back in July, it was strange. Obviously, everybody's been in the same situations, but yeah, it was just like obviously when you come into the GTC, you've got to park with spaces between everybody. There was only 5 people allowed in the gym at a time back then, so we'd train on a morning at, I don't know, 10 o'clock, and then you wouldn't be able to do, sometimes you won't be lifting weights until the afternoon, until like 3 o'clock, because we'd get broke into groups and you'd have to rotate that way. Obviously the testing, that's not very nice if everybody's had that, but yeah, you get used to it, to be fair. We do that twice a week, but the new PCR tests that we've got, we do those 3 times a week now, so they're a bit more common. What else were there? But yeah, training, just obviously the sprays, only being able to use a certain water bottle on a game day, just all kinds of stuff, but to keep us safe and to keep the public safe. But I think the boys have adapted well. Nobody's moaned. Everybody just got on with it, because we know, obviously, everybody knows the bigger picture. And the main thing is keeping the sport going, because obviously it was scary times for a little bit. Nobody knew what was going to happen to Rugby League. Obviously, not having you guys there is massive. And luckily, Ken and obviously all the other people around the league obviously have funded the game really, really well and managed to keep us in jobs at the end of the day, because we knew that. We knew if we didn't follow the rules that the government had shut the sport down, and that's putting everybody's jobs at risk. So yeah, everybody took it very serious and followed the guidelines as well as possible. After Christmas, it's relaxed a little bit. We're still obviously watching, careful with the guidelines, but we're all allowed to train together now in the gym. Obviously, Greg Brown's gym being close by, we can kind of half the group, so we kind of split it forwards and backs. So half the squad's in one place and half the squad's in the other. So that's made the training day and flow a little bit better. But other than that, yeah, all the other stuff's still in place. There's still the one-way systems in the gym, and we're not allowed to have team meetings in certain small rooms. They have to be in big rooms and stuff like that. All the windows are open at all times. That's probably the biggest one for me, to be honest. The gym's been absolutely freezing, because in the middle of December, every single window has to be open in the gym at all times to let the air in and out. So yeah, probably being able to close the windows has been nice. It's kind of back to front, because we have the central heating on full blast in the gym, but all the windows are open. So it's just one of those. But other than that, no, everybody's took to it really well. And obviously, hopefully now, obviously with the vaccines, we're coming through the other side and there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
Good.
Excellent. Right, so moving on, potentially you've got a World Cup to look forward to end of season. How are you looking forward to that?
I can't wait, to be honest. Obviously, since it was end of 2018, I first got asked to play for Jamaica. That was to go to the qualifiers in America, but I wasn't allowed at that time. Jerm just joined the club and he was like, "Nah, you're not going over there to risk playing over there." I didn't want me to risk injury, and it was the middle of pre-season, so I think at that time they didn't take Jamaica very serious. They thought it was just a 2-week holiday in America, to be honest. But luckily, the boys managed to qualify, and when they qualified, I was over the moon knowing that I'd have the opportunity to play in a World Cup. So I managed to make my debut for Jamaica against the Knights last year, and obviously Alex Simmons and Jason Robinson have all hopped on board now, and Chev Walker. We've got a good coaching team, and then there's a few other boys around Super League that they've put their hands up to play. So no, I'm really excited. Obviously, we've drawn Ireland, we've drawn New Zealand, and we've drawn Lebanon, and yeah, I'm really excited at the opportunity to play for Jamaica. Obviously, it's my parents' heritage to represent and play in a World Cup. I've been lucky enough to play for the England Knights on 3 occasions, but unfortunately missed out on the top squad. But yeah, the opportunity to come up in a World Cup don't come round often, so I'm glad I'll get the chance this year.
Yeah, just doing a little plug here. I don't know if everyone's aware, but we are running a trip to the Jamaican Island game at Leeds. So we're putting on, well, hopefully putting on a coach. We'll go for a meal as well. We've got a few places left. I don't know how many, but if anybody fancies coming along, then get in touch with us. £25 deposit, that secures your place, and then we'll obviously know more a bit near time. So, Nathaniel.
Who else in Super League's put their hand up to play for Jamaica?
So obviously you'll know Dom's obviously in there, who's in the NRL, and then obviously JT, Ash, there's Daryl Alford has put his hand up, Lewis Johnson, who else is there now? Lewis Johnson, there's obviously Mason, Caton Brown, Ben Jones Bishop, Who else is there? Then the rest of the squad's made up of a lot of championship players. So you're looking like your Ross Peltiers, Joel Farrell, or type of players. James Woodburn, all from Halifax. We all got really excited the other day when Kyle signed, because we thought he was Jamaican. That was the first thing they did. The boys were on the phone to him, but it's from Barbados, so he's going to miss out, obviously. But next year, there's plans in place and a strong possibility that there's going to be a West Indies team put together to play against England in a mid-season test at Headingley. There's been a lot of talk going on at the moment about trying to get that organised, because that team would be very, very strong. Pretty much everyone could play pretty much then that's got any kind of Caribbean heritage in the league. So obviously Jermaine and Leroy, well, if he's not playing for England, they could qualify. Obviously Kyle. There'll be a lot of players that are missing out, because there's a lot of players in rugby league from the Caribbean that are not from Jamaica. So everybody will be eligible, and I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a great spectacle if that could happen.
Trevor, go on.
Can I ask you how the training session went on at Halifax? There's not been much about it, apart from somebody saying it was being very successful. Did we win, lose, or not?
It wasn't a real game. So they did we've done them. We do them every year, to be honest. We've done a fair few against Batley, and in the last 2 years we've done it with Halifax, obviously, with the relationship with Brixie and that. So we did 10 minutes, pretty much touch and pass, and then they did 2 20-minute blocks, full contact, which were pretty much a game, so like half a game. And then we had 6 dropouts, and then they had 6 dropouts to finish, because we wanted to practice defending the goal line. And yeah, it went really well, to be honest. The boys started a little bit slow, but sometimes in them training games, it's hard to get in the right frame of mind when you know it's not a real game. But after that first block of touch and pass, when the boys were just kind of playing touch and pass, Watto was like, no, switch on, like, we need to get ready. We're going up against Leeds next week. And the boys stepped it up then and started bashing them up. And yeah, we ended up putting a good score on them in the end, to be honest. And it was a good hit out. It was more just it was the first opportunity to run Watto's style of play against players that don't know what's coming, because obviously in training you kind of know what's coming, and it's easy to defend at times. So yeah, throwing up stuff against a team that don't know what's coming, it makes it a little bit harder for them to defend. But no, the boys look good, especially defensively. That was the main part that we wanted to get right, the new defensive process. And when we had our what they call it, R6 dropouts, we only conceded 1 try off a kick. So other than that, no, it went really well. But we were looking to step it up again this week, obviously against Leeds on Sunday. It says it's a friendly, but for me, it's not a friendly. I hate Leeds, so I will.
Can I just go back to Jamaica, Bruno?
Yeah.
What's the situation like over there? I mean, are people aware of what's going on? Are they aware of the team? And
yeah, that's a good point. It's really weird. Well, it's not weird, but the way it's made up. There's a guy called Romeo, and he's pretty much in charge of
Juliet
of rugby league. of rugby league in Jamaica, and he's pretty much grown the game. He's gone over. He watched the game on TV. He liked it. He's managed to get a league up and running on the island. It's amateur. They play on like football pitches. It's like something you've never seen. But what they're planning on, to be fair, I've been speaking to the management about this. They want to have 6 domestic players come over. To be honest, I reckon it probably should be 4 for the 24-man squad, and then they have 20 English-based players that are playing at a high level. But Romeo's want 6 to come over, so these boys have got to get up to speed, to be fair, and quick, to be honest. But yeah, on the island, it's grown. To be fair, there's been a lot of excitement ever since they qualified. The actual World Cup trophy went over there, and they did a massive promo video in Jamaica, and there's a lot of excitement on the island. And I think that's why he wants the island-based players to come over and play, because they're bringing the interest from Jamaica, to be honest. And another one was, I only had this thought the other day, is eventually the Jamaican team will be all island-based players, because obviously the rules on internationals are at the moment that it's 2 generations. So luckily it's my mum and dad that were born on the island, but some of the players, a lot of the players, it's their grandparents. So if they have kids that grow up and want to play for Jamaica, they can't, because it's only 2 generations. So eventually, I reckon over the next 10 years, with a lot of different countries as well, the team will end up being fully just from that country, because obviously the 2 generation rule is going to die away unless you get another influx of immigrants coming to move and work and live in a country.
And what about over here? I mean, you know, you mentioned some of the guys that are playing for Jamaica. We went to the game at Headingley, and there's a lot of people from Huddersfield, players and people that were new fans. You know, what is there any sort of big interest within the town for it, you know, within the community and everything?
Massive, yeah. We do a load of promos throughout the year. So obviously they do the Black Music Festival, they do the Caribbean Carnival. There's a lot of promos, and there's obviously, as you know, around Huddersfield, Leeds, Bradford, the Caribbean community is massive, and there was a lot of interest in. I don't know if you obviously at the night's game. It felt like it was a home crowd. There was a massive cheer when we scored. It was like a carnival atmosphere, to be honest. And yeah, I think it'll be the same again for the World Cup. That first game, I can't wait. I think Headingley is going to be pretty much packed out. And if anybody knows Jamaican and Irish people, they love a party. So as a fan, I'd be loving to go to watch that as a fan, to be fair myself. So no, I'm sure it'll be a great day out and a good spectacle.
So do you think if you can plug it, we could fill another coach for that trip then?
I reckon you could, to be fair. If I wasn't playing, I'd be going on that trip, 100%.
Right, you can plug it for us. Nathaniel?
Are you quietly confident as a team that you can progress through the group? Obviously New Zealand will be top team, which you may struggle with, but with the other 2.
I'm realistic. The coaching staff, some people are real, some are very realistic, some are super confident and think we're going to fly through. But yeah, obviously the Ireland and the Lebanon game, they're the ones that we're targeting, that we see as winnable games. That Kiwis game, it's going to be obviously a great experience to play against the Kiwis, but yeah, it's going to be a tough game, and I'm sure we'll be pretty sore after that one. But the Ireland and the Lebanon games are the ones that we're targeting, and I think if we've got obviously the more Super League and Championship players that we can have playing, the better chance will give us. But yeah, I'm quietly confident that hopefully we can ruffle a few feathers at this World Cup and catch a few teams out. Obviously, taking us a little bit easier, to be honest. But yeah, it just depends on how many players you've got playing that are coming from the island, because obviously we had 2 last year in the Knights game. And I think within 5-10 minutes of the game, one of the boys couldn't breathe. He said he'd never played in a game as fast, and he had to come off after 5 minutes. So it's a massive shock to the system. The climate, for one thing, all week, he warmed up in a coat, and he had his hat and gloves on when we were warming up for the game, because it was that cold. They've come straight from Jamaica, where it's 30 nearly 40 degrees. Into British winter. So yeah, that's one of the things that the boys are going to have to get used to as well. But yeah, as far as progressing, that's the goal really. The goal is to get out of the group, because if you get to the quarterfinals, you automatically qualify for the next World Cup. So yeah, that's the big goal, and that's the big aim. But for me, I just want to make sure we go there and we represent ourselves well, pretty much, and we're competitive in every game we play.
The lad you were on about then, is that the lad who played at hooker? Because he was a domestic player, wasn't he? He was quite good for a few minutes.
No, he's actually, he had no professional club. He played for Dewsbury Celtic, Danny Thomas. No, the guy I'm on about, there was one guy called Kamisi McCain. So he was from Jamaica. He was a prop. And he played about 5-10 minutes. And then there was a guy called Jensen Morris from Jamaica as well, another winger. And then them 2 boys flew over 3 days before the game and played, and they tried the best, but they got a lot out of the camp of the week. Obviously, being around professional players and that, it's a learning curve as much for them as it is obviously playing. So no, yeah, the main thing for me is obviously that hopefully Romeo and the guys back in Jamaica that are doing the work with those players are getting them up to as best speed as possible, really, so that when they come over, they're prepared for when we get playing against obviously Ireland, New Zealand and Lebanon, because the levels are going to step up, and obviously at a World Cup everybody comes out the woodwork to play. I know Ireland have already got, I think they've got Luke Keary on board, so we're going to be going up against the State of Origin halfback most likely. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge, that's for sure.
Excellent. Just staying on that theme then, you've been included on the inclusive board at the RFL as part of the Tackle It campaign. Can you just tell us a bit about that, what it involves and what your role is?
Yeah, so my role is just as like a advisor kind of real. So we just meet 4 times a year on all matters around discrimination, inclusivity and diversity in the sport, to be fair. So we had this first meeting last week and there was a lot of stuff. We did a lot of talking with the referees and on how certain things are reported and how we're going to grow the game, to be fair, in communities where the game should be big, but it's not, and just that outreach that we've just not quite managed to crack within Rugby League, to be honest, and how we can draw new people to the game and obviously expand on the good stuff that's been happening as well. Obviously there's a lot of good that's been happening in the game, obviously PDRL's the women's game, Women's Super League, and all that kind of stuff there as well. Continue to grow that as well. So no, it's been very productive, and I think it's only something that can be positive going forward, to be honest.
Yeah, and how did it come about then? Did you have to apply for the roles, or did they approach you?
A bit of both, to be honest. So they approached me to apply just before Christmas. They thought it'd be a good idea. Obviously, last year when we came back, I was heavily involved with the Black Lives Matter protests, well not protests, but the interview that we did before the first game. Yeah. And off the back of that, I did a lot of Zoom meetings and interviews with people from Sky, people from media outlets all over the country, to be honest, around certain issues and things like that. And then obviously there was a lot of positive stuff, but there was a lot of backlash as well from that. We decided at that stage that obviously Rugby League needed its own initiative that everybody could get behind with no political ties, because that was the main backlash from the interviews. Obviously a lot of people didn't understand, and players as well, to be fair, as you saw different players from different teams doing different things. A lot of people didn't understand what it meant, to be honest. So we decided that we needed to make our own Rugby League against any kind of discrimination for anyone. This is our sport. It's inclusive. Everybody's welcome, and that's how Tackle It kind of came about, really. So I played a big role in that. Obviously, they showed me the plan. I was like, yeah, I like the stuff together. And then that was in about September last year. And then end of October, I got a call from the RFL, and they said they were putting a board together. And I think it'd be really good for me to apply. So I did, because I'm a person who likes to see things through. I don't like to just be there at the start, and then obviously when the hard stuff comes, where you actually have to do some work, walk away and leave it. And I felt like a lot of positivity could come from this. So yeah, I put my hand up, and yeah, they give me the role. So over the next 5 years, there's some measurable targets what they want to achieve. Obviously, growth in certain areas, growth in the game, and obviously reports of discrimination down and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to being a part of it, and obviously improving the sport for the better.
And is it something the clubs are on board with as well? Is there going to be things going on within the clubs, or is it?
Yeah, so obviously there's obviously the chair, and then there's the board underneath, and then there's the working team. They're the ones that go out into the community and the clubs. So I'm not so much hands-on. I'm with the working team, kind of come back to us with what they've got. But yeah, it goes to the clubs. There's been emails to the clubs. There's been a lot about obviously the pre-game in Super League. But the main thing is the community clubs. So obviously community clubs, a lot of stuff around education, a lot of stuff around obviously scholarship programs and schools and stuff like that. So yeah, it's literally Rugby League from Super League level to the top. I think the reason why they've valued me on the board so much is because I'm probably the only player and probably only person on the board with actual Rugby League experience. Obviously people on the board have got a load of experience around inclusion and diversity, you got people who are like, we've got like bosses of Amazon on this board, and people from the RFL, and people from all areas of business and schools. But I'm actually the only person that I think's ever played the game or that's involved in the professional game at a professional level on the board. So yeah, I feel a big responsibility to make sure that I kind of voice the feeling from the players in Super League onto the board and note for that and voice their views really. Yeah,
so I mean, if we were to put you on the spot, then what would you like to see in say 4 years? Is it 4 years or something?
Five they've said, pretty much. Just continue to grow the game to grow. So pretty much you can go into any area, any community, and they'll know what rugby league is. Pretty much that's the one for me. And obviously, everyone being comfortable coming to a game. One thing that I've heard a lot of stories over like the past 6 months of certain people's experiences at games and things like that. And they're the things that hopefully we can get to a point where everybody's comfortable and everybody sees our game as something where everybody's welcome, which I feel it is, but I feel like you can never stop improving, and that's what I'm hoping to do. Even if we make the tiniest bit of change for the better, be happy with that.
I mean, Jamaica winning World Cup will probably go a long way to help in those communities, won't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Even more of an emphasis on you then. Anybody else got anything on that? No, Brian? Was that a yes or a no? Is that just fiddling about?
No, I was just thinking, sort of moving on that. You've obviously been in the game a long time, but when I played the game, I had another job as well. So I had a trade behind me, and when I finished playing, I went to that. What is there in the game now? I know, but for the benefit of others, what is there in the game that's helping you educate yourself towards life after rugby?
So there's a lot of programs and obviously Rugby League Charities. So Rugby League Cares is big. They offer funding and offer different courses. Steve, who's at our club, is massive. He's probably, I reckon, he's probably the best welfare manager there is in the league. To be honest, he's been massive for me. And he's the one who comes in. We've got a group chat around welfare, and he's constantly popping courses in there for the boys. So like any kind of like from bricklaying, electricians, plumbing, to uni courses, if you wanted to do a degree, to personal training courses, or obviously with the sponsors as well. Some sponsors, as you know yourself, they offer boys chances to come in and get work experience and stuff along them lines. But the stuff's the education and the stuff's there. It's just down to the players to get off the bum and do it really, to be fair, because we have a lot of time. Most days we're done for 2 p.m. and you can be doing something.
I know you've got an easy life.
It's hard whilst you're at training, but you're not there for long.
So on that then, have you thought of a progression for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So since probably 2017, I had a big knee injury at the start of that season, and I missed a lot of rugby that year. And up until probably that point, I'd never really had an injury or missed any rugby. And it was at that point that I realised this game can just get taken away from you just like that. And it was that year that I applied for uni to do a sports coaching degree. And up until that point, I'd done a few courses, to be fair, as well. I've never been one to just sit on my hands and waste my time. I'm a qualified personal trainer. I've got an MVQ in joinery, and then obviously I started my degree in 2017. And this year I'll graduate this year. So I'll have my degree this year, and then I'm planning. Today, to be fair, I've just got an interview in a month's time to start a PGCE, because I want to be a PE teacher, to be fair, after rugby league. That's what I've been working towards. So I'll start my teacher training in September, all being well. But yeah, that's the plan really. But yeah, it took that injury to give my head a shake really, because before you know it, 10 years has gone and it creeps up on you. And if you waste that time and you're not prepared, then it makes that transition tough. And obviously I've played with a fair few players, and I've spoke to them, and obviously it's very hard. It's very hard letting go of rugby league one day, and they always say to me, if you're not prepared, that's when it's a shock. So try be prepared, have a plan B, and work towards that. So yeah, my thing is to get as qualified as possible, and hopefully that'll lead to opportunities when I do finally call it a day and stop playing. But hopefully that'll be no time soon.
Easy life, eh, Brian?
Well, let me tell you, mate. You know, I know what it's like for them. They didn't have to work hard like me. You know.
You want to work hard because you didn't have talent these guys have got.
Dick Crabtree's there. He knows how hard I worked at Browns.
That was a different century, Brian.
It was completely.
Right. We'll just move on. So, Bruno,
Yeah.
all the guys that have come in this season, who are you most looking forward to playing with? You know, which were the signing that you thought, oh, quite fancy playing alongside this guy?
Jonesy, because I hated playing against him. He's a brick. He's literally he's probably one of the most awkward guys to tackle in the league. And now he's on our side, so no, it's pretty good. Yeah, I always love it when certain players retire or they join your team because you don't have to tackle them anymore. So yeah, I'm glad Josh Jones is on our side. When we're in training and we're doing opposed, everybody always wants to be on his team because he's an handful with the ball when he carries the ball. As you'll see on Sunday, he's always carrying 3-4 guys along. So no, yeah, I'm glad Joe's on our side. He'll do some damage this year, I'm sure. I think it's his first year playing in the middle. He's always played back row before, but obviously he's going to be playing in the middle with those guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to that, because it is different. Obviously, I've been lucky enough to play many positions, and the transition from back row, even though you're only moving in one position, it's a totally different game, to be fair. You don't get the rest that you're doing in the back row position. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him make that transition, but I'm sure he'll do it well.
Yep. Nathaniel.
Just on talking new signings, how's Ollie Ashall getting along?
Yeah, he's doing really well, to be fair.
Was injured.
He's a good kid. He's very quiet, and he just goes about his business. A lot of the boys, they seem to be more talking about, obviously, his missus. His missus is massive at Man City. She's probably the best player that girl football at Man City has got. She plays for England as well. So yeah, a lot of the focus seems to be about her, because he's always got free gear. He's always got loads of Nike stuff, and he's bringing it to all the time. So yeah, a lot of the boys are always hanging around Ollie, because he's got all the freebies going. So no, yeah, he's settled in really well.
I'll say I bet Jerry's first in queue, isn't he?
Pretty much as always. Yeah, he's a size 8 and he's curling his toes up for some free boots.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Any more questions from anybody? No, we're all done then, right? Oh, Janice. Unmute yourself, Janice. That's it.
Hey, Michael. I just want to know, how do you prepare yourself before a game? So what will you be doing on Saturday?
I'm a creature of habit, and I'm a bit superstitious, so I do the same thing every week, to be honest. So yeah. From run through onwards, so we'll always do a captain's run the day before the game, and from then onwards, I've got to eat the same food, got to sleep at the same time, get up, do the same things on the morning. I always have spaghetti bolognese the night before the game, pretty much every game. To be fair, last year I changed from, obviously, I normally have it with mince, but I changed to have it with corn last year. I don't know why, but I felt like I had loads more energy in a game, so that's one thing I've stuck with. And
all right.
Helped me last year, so I just felt really good playing after eating corn rather than mince. It just wasn't as heavy on the stomach, to be fair, the next day. So, and then on the game day, normally just have porridge in the morning, and then I probably can't eat too much after that, to be fair. Normally go for a little walk, have a good stretch, make sure I've drunk plenty of water and that, and then down to the stadium or onto the bus ready for game time, to be honest. But yeah, no, the main thing is that I have to have my spaghetti bolognese the night before. If I don't have that, I won't feel right going into the game.
Oh, good. Well, have a good game then.
I will do. Cheers.
Any more? Anybody else?
Just one last one. I'm sure everybody wants to know what sort of teams playing on Sunday? Is more or less everybody playing?
There's a few not playing. I don't think he's not named it yet. To be honest, not fully, but just from the way we've been training this week, pretty much all the new signings are playing. I know me, Roy, Jez are all playing. Caesar's playing. So it'll be a very strong. It'll be a very strong side. To be fair, obviously.
Because it has to be, doesn't it? Really, it's his only pre-season friendly before we go into.
That's what I mean. To be fair, so I think everyone that he wants to have some minutes and have a look at some combinations. Obviously, he'll want to see our spine together. Gasky, obviously, Cogger and Seas, and obviously Ollie in there as well. He want to see that combination at some stage. So yeah, I think the team's going to get finalised tomorrow morning. But yeah, you'll pretty much see everyone. I reckon everyone that's fit and everyone that he wants to see play. To be fair, but yeah, I know he's confirmed that all the new signings will be playing. So it'll be good to see them playing the first game in Giants colours.
Just in case anybody isn't aware, the game is available on the Our League app. It costs $4.95 if you buy it before the day of the game, and it's £10 on the day of the game. So just in case anybody wasn't aware, they want to watch it, it's on Our League. I think there'll be a link there just to click on it and put all your details in. But it's on there if anybody wants to watch it.
I would add is that it is the perfect Mother's Day gift.
I'm one that's paid for it.
How do you see our two opening props, number 8 and number 10?
He's one of them.
You've been one of them. How do you see us going against opposition like St Helens?
To be fair, he'll change it. To be fair, so the squad numbers is something that he gives out at the start of the year. It's not necessarily the team that's going to play. Very rarely do you play 1 to 13. So I'm not too sure how his rotation will work. It'll change for different teams. So tactics wise, it'll change. So maybe playing against St Helens, he might start his biggest side that we've got available. So he could possibly start Gav, and I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how it'll work, but for each, yeah, pretty much for each game, he'll change the tactics and he'll change the team accordingly. But yeah, we leave that to Otto. We just do as we're told as players.
Cheers.
No worries.
So finally, then, what can we expect this season? Can we expect in terms of how we're going to play? Is it going to be quick, fast, open stuff?
I reckon it's very good defensively, very quick in attack, but it's not as his style's very structured. It's not as open as some coaches that I've had in the past. So it's very don't make mistakes, build pressure, and pressure equals points. And he's very big on that because he's very big on grinding teams down because obviously we want to be the fittest side and pretty much is very build pressure, grind teams down, and they'll crack and you'll win the game. And that's the way he wants to go. To be fair, but obviously once we're in that good side of the football, obviously we've got the players that are going to put on a show really and break them up. And obviously Seas and Gasky and Cogger will get their hands on the ball and start making stuff happen once we're in good ball. But yeah, coming out of yardage and stuff. It'll be very basic, but all about building pressure and wearing teams down and basically punishing them with his defence. He's massive on defence, kicking the ball well and bashing teams up pretty much. And that's pretty much what we're going to go with.
Good. Any more? Or should we wrap it up? Don't think anyone's not. Right, we'll wrap that up. So I'd like to say thank you to Bruno for joining us. He's obviously got a very busy time. Brian won't agree, but he's obviously training, doing everything else. So, and thank you to everyone else for joining us. And hopefully we'll have another one next week or the week after. And good luck to Bruno for the rest of the season.
No worries. Cheers for having me.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.